Yeah, well, you probably know from my previous posts that I'm not exactly a big fan of Malcolm Turnbull in his government, and I'm not surprised that Christopher Pyne, who's one of his great weak links in a fairly weak lineup as it is, has actually put his foot right in it, and he should have been sacked. But of course, typical Malcolm Turnbull, didn't have the balls to make the tough decisions. This is so typical of the way that man operates. He just seems to attract and cultivate mediocrity around him. So he's had a particularly bad week because Christopher Pyne, basically, in his typical boastful way, he's got a big mouth on him, Chrissy, and it was a private function that was being recorded on a smartphone, I think, because the audio is pretty ordinary, but it was played on air, on radio, and he was basically boasting about how he was going to push the same-sex marriage through, which means basically get the MPs to decide rather than the plebiscite, and also that his plan to have the left wing of the Liberal Party run the party was going really well, and that they were doing brilliantly, in spite of the fact that all the opinion polls are showing they're going to be absolutely wiped at an election. I think actually, if anything, those opinion polls may understate how badly they're going to go, because the people that they've alienated are the Conservatives, who are the least likely to register their opinions on an opinion poll. So I think the fallout is even greater than what the polls are showing. And the polls are becoming a little less reliable these days. Look at what happened with Brexit and with the Trump presidency. They have had some really bad instances recently where they've totally stuffed it. So you can't trust the polls as much as you used to be able to. Yeah, so Christopher Pyne carrying on like the proverbial pork chop and saying how brilliantly they're doing in the spite of all the evidence to the contrary, is also the man who Turnbull decided to take out insurance to hold on to by greenlighting this ridiculous Navy contract to build the submarines, the French submarines, which have, as I've told you, in the past they were originally designed as nuclear subs, which would have been perfect for a country like Australia with a large coastline, and we're going to downgrade them and pay more to have them downgraded into diesel electric subs with a shorter range. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But this money, this wasted money on what's going to be outdated technology even before it even gets built probably, is all being paid for to basically to keep Christopher Pyne's hide. But I doubt whether people are overly impressed with Christopher Pyne these days. I think this sort of outburst is going to do him a lot of damage. And I mean, South Australia at a state level is running pretty in ordinary fashion, and I imagine there'd be a few people over there maybe a little pissed off with the way the left is run. And I don't regard him as a liberal as such. He's just a duplicitous left winger. That's the way he's operating anyway. And I predicted it. I'm not a big fan of his, and I think my character reference has been vindicated. Certainly Corey Bernardi, oh boy, did he pay out on Christopher Pyne when he evaluated his character. So it's not just me. There's a lot of people who are not impressed. And of course, Turnbull has that other clown, Scott Morrison, who's still pushing for retrospective superannuation policies that's going to basically really piss off the base of the party. They've alienated the Catholics because of the funding of schools, and of course they're just spending like drunken sailors with the Gonski, just throwing money at the Gonski thing, taking as a victory to getting it through Parliament, where they've got to pay up more money to buy off the Greens and Labor, which means that chances of balancing the books is even less. And for what? The throwing money at education has not worked. It needs to be restructured. We need to have less teachers, but better quality teachers, higher standards and entrance to get into university to do teaching, more incentives to be good teachers, and proper evaluations along the way. Probably none of these things are happening through the education departments of each state. They're very, very left centre, progressive, and touchy-feely, and you just can't offend anybody, so you've got to pass everybody. It's that attitude, and it filters through to the quality of the teachers going through the system. And it's a real problem, but nothing's going to change. We are going to have a new leader, but who's it going to be? In the Liberal Party needs a new leader, and I don't know who it's going to be. They're basically in the same position that the Rudd Labor Party was after Gillard knifed him. He had to come back and save the furniture. We could be looking at a similar situation, because at least Abbott does have ideas, and he's been articulating them. He's probably trying to emulate what Menzies did years and years ago to get himself back in good books, because he started off with a failed party initially before he had his dream run. So perseverance beats resistance, as they say in sales.